Hello and welcome to another Office Hours capsule. That's right, capsule. This is a small section of my Office Hours live stream. Now, this was a special live stream that I did on Tuesday, March 14th, 2023. But normally you can find me live on Thursdays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/TheAstroPub or youtube.com/TheastroPublive. Come down and join these wonderful folks here. Everyone say hi, chat. Live to come down and watch it live. We talk about the news, the lore, a bunch of other different things. But I decided to do these small sections because people wanted to not have to watch a 4-hour live stream to get some updates. But this is going to be my second major roadmap roundup and progress tracker kind of update that I've done. I had some feedback from the last ones, and I'll just address some of those real quickly. I called a bunch of these ones sprints when they're not really sprints. They're just planned work. Sprints is how they work on them, but it's just the wrong terminology. And a lot of people said, I know how the roadmap works. I didn't need the update. So I'm not going to be doing that for every single one. I didn't plan on that anyways, but this is just going to be an update on the progress tracker and the roadmap. Now, this is not a summary. There's nothing wrong with summaries, but I find that you lose a lot of context for what's actually being updated based off of just summarization. So we're going to go through every single change that was made for the progress tracker in the last update, which happened on March 8th. So with that being said, let's dive right into the roadmap roundup for March 8th. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Every 2 weeks, we come into the roadmap update with a brief explanatory note to give you insight into the decision making that led to any changes. This is part of an effort to make our communications more transparent, more specific, and more insightful. For those of you who helped to make Star Citizen Squadron 42 possible. With that said, let's go ahead and dive into this week's roadmap roundup. So the first off is the release view. The Lynx is coming in 3.19. It's being added to the column, added to the release column view. Building, implementing, and balancing RSI's planetary rover, the Lynx, as a gameplay-ready vehicle. Very cool. And then progress tracker. With this published, we're adding additional Q1 2023 and Q3 2023 schedules for the downstream and upstream teams, respectively. The following deliverable is added to the progress tracker. Additional derelict settlements. Settlements with both gameplay and social elements spread throughout the Stanton Wilderness using the Rastar tool. Very cool. So those are, if you just read the roadmap roundup, that's all you would find. But they did change a bunch of stuff, as it says. We're adding additional Q1 2023 and Q2 2023 schedules for downstream upstream. This is where I pull out a tool that you can use. It's called shinytracker.app. It's made by Shiny Hobo, who is created this, follows the channel, does a lot of this stuff. Check it out yourself. It's a fantastic tool to use. Basically what this does is it scrapes all the data, figures out what changed, and then explains how that changed, updated. So it's just a small bot that he created for this. Now, of the total, there are 486 deliverables listed, but only 64 modifications were created, 0 removals, 1 addition to this in this update. Not all removals are intentional. Is currently a bug with how time is entered in progress tracker and cause deliverables to disappear. So the one thing they added was, actually, I'll just click me. Oop. Here we go. On average, the schedule expanded by 24 days. 12 deliverables were not extended, so these were all not extended. Currently scheduled tasks and estimated man days are the bug fixing, miscellaneous support, outpost, homestead, independent outlaw, persistent streaming and server meshing, Squadron 42 vehicle support, building exteriors, so on and so forth. Very cool. So I'm going to close that again. Additional derelict settlements with the tool with social elements spread throughout the Stanton Wilderness using Rastar tool. So this is scheduled to go until June 29th, which is just an estimation, so like the end of June. The following teams were assigned. Montreal Sandbox 1 began work on the 4th with 2 design devs and 3 art devs. So you know that if Montreal is doing it, it's probably going to end up coming up pretty quickly. 64 deliverables updated. Achievement service. was moved to an earlier time time allocation removals prior to likely from 2023-2012 to 2021-9-27. That's finished. Or they stopped working on it. Aerodynamic control surfaces. This was extended to the May 8th, so early May. They also added 20 days of work with one engineering dev for 13 tasks. AI vehicle perception. This is one of those things they've been talking about in the monthly reports a lot. This was extended to February. And we know that a lot of that is actually finished because they added at least the initial implementation. So that might change it a bit. The C8R Pisces was added, finished up because it was released in 3.17. Bounty Hunter V2. This was extended to... sorry about that. I'm getting some of these things. There we go. Turn that off for now. We're sponsored. I'll talk about it at the end of the stream, though, so if you want to know why those little information comes up. Let's see. Bounty Hunter V2. This was extended to July of 2023. The EU landing zone team added 20 days of work, and the narrative team added 27 days of work. So this is probably more focused on expanding how the landing zones and such work, how bounty hunting work when it comes to actually turning in the criminals. We actually know some of this stuff already because some of this stuff was specifically mentioned in the monthly reports as generic security turn-in spots. Bug fixing and tech debt, obviously extended till September. This was just AI team added a bunch of stuff. EU Landing Zone 1, EU Landing Zone 2, lighting team, and the vehicle feature team. Some of them freed up some work. They added a bunch of work. This is just stuff that we'll see even beyond Star Citizen's eventual 1.0 release. Building interiors. End date has been extended from June to September. Freed up two slots of 14 days of work. Montreal Sandbox added 73 days of work, and Narrative Design added 27 days of work. So we've got some more stuff there for building interiors. So likely not coming in 3.19, probably more 4.0, which makes more sense, or after 4.0. Then we're releasing the Squadron 42. The Chapter 1 was extended to June. We see one engineering team with 2 tasks. Level design 2, flight added 41 days of work. 8 devs. Tech animation was assigned. And vehicle feature team was assigned 1 engineering, 1 design dev. Then we see the extension of Chapter 2 to March, the end of March, with an art team and level design. Social added. So the social team added some stuff there, so we're working on that. Chapter 4, so we skipped Chapter 3. That does not mean that Chapter 3 is done. It just means that they're not working on it right now. They extended that to the end of March. It's just by a day, it looks like. They added 6 art devs and 1 design dev. Chapter 5 was extended to April. A lot of stuff is added there. Gameplay story, Squadron 42 art, feature team, level design 1, 2, and 3, tech animation, and vehicle feature team. So I'd love to see what we're going to see at the end of this month in terms of Squadron 42's update, because that looks like Chapter 5's got a big whole chunk of stuff added to it. Then we skip 6 again, so going to Chapter 7. That was extended to the end of May with a flight team, the tech animation team, and vehicle feature team. Adding some stuff there. Then we skip 8, go straight on to 9. That's extended to early March with level design 2, flight team specifically adding a couple of different designers. Skip 10, go to 11. End of March, Squadron 42 level design 1 and level design 2. FPS and flight team were working on stuff. Okay. For those of you who don't know, Squadron 42 is broken up into 3 separate distinct categories. Social, FPS, and flight. They do dovetail and fish into one another, but those are the 3 teams who work on the actual work of the game. So So when you see things like FPS and flight, that's what they're talking about. Then we go to chapter 12, ends and extended to June. We see the facial animation team, gameplay story, Squadron 42 level FPS, and then vehicle feature team also added some stuff there. Skip chapter 13. Chapter 14 was extended to July. And we see AI tech teams, Squadron 42 art with cinematics, FPS team, flight team, tech animation team, and vehicle feature team with engineering and design devs. That's another one of those big heavy ones they're working on right now. Chapter 15 was extended to the end of March. Gameplay story added some stuff, and the socials team added more. End of March for chapter 16. FPS, flight, and social were all added extended stuff, so they're really working on the gameplay aspects of 16, so not working on the technical stuff of, like, does it work or not. 17, we see, again, extended to June. We see gameplay story added some stuff, Squadron 42 art, the FPS and flight, and vehicle feature team added some people there. Chapter 18, we've got May, gameplay story, art, FPS, flight, and vehicle feature team. So some of these you can probably tell which one's more heavily social and versus heavily combat oriented. 19, this was extended to the end of March. We see a huge amount of stuff. 5 animation devs, 1 tech content, 1 narrative designer, 6 FPS, and 6 design devs, and 2 for FPS and 2 for flight, and 1 for social. That's another big one they're hitting on. Chapter 20 comes out with in the end of March. See gameplay story added with animation devs, 4 animation devs, narrative 1 design, art added with 6 art devs, FPS has 6 devs, and social has 1 design dev. So that probably more FPS and social designed. Chapter 21, we see July. We see added for gameplay story, art, flight, tech animation, and vehicle feature. 22 was extended to the end of March. See if I skipped anything. No, it's all pretty solid. When to the end of March, we see gameplay story, narrative, art with cinematics and art devs. Then we see FPS, flight, and social all adding. There are 10 design devs on FPS. That is pretty heavy FPS, I'm guessing. 23 was extended to the end of March with gameplay story, art, and social. 2 design devs there. 24, we see end of March, FPS and Squadron 42 flight. 25. That work was finished on the 1st or the end of January with just 1 social team added. So 26 was the end of March. Gameplay story, art, specifically just art, no cinematics. Then FPS with 9 design devs, 1 social, and then tech animation content. And then 27, which was extended to the end of June, or to the beginning of June, with flight, with 4 new design devs, and vehicle feature team with 1 engineering dev. So, character creator, which is another thing they talked about in the monthly report, was got some work on it, especially around hair and customization with the new DNA stuff they have. 2042 added 1 engineering dev. Character work, which is another one of those things, extended to the end of March. AI tech feature team with 3 animation, 1 design, and 7 engineering devs. Facial animation added, mocap team, tech animation team. They just came back from a big tech rework, or like a mocap stuff for Squadron, so that makes sense. Checkpoint and skip point tutorial. This is part of the PES system, I believe, is what they're using for this one. That was extended to June, and it has 1 engineering dev. Derelict spaceships, point of interest. This was ended in February, which makes sense. Narrative added 27 days of work, so it's a little bit more stuff for derelict spaceships. Released since 316 and continued to work. Distortion propagation, which is expanded to June at the end. Drake Corsair, obviously finished way back. Drake Cutter, finished way back. Dynamic events. This is extended to the end of March, which the narrative team added 3 new designers. 2 new designers, so a total of 3 devs. So they're definitely working on some sort of dynamic event. My guess is something for 3.19. Fire Hazard. This was finished up. This stretch of work finished up in February. Feature team with 1 engineering dev. Freight Elevators extended to the end of March. EU Landing Zone 2 with 1 art dev. So not really building it, more designing it, looks like. Jump Points was extended to mid-March, which we actually did see in the monthly report of them working on Jump Points themselves. Vehicle Feature Team freed up 7. It was 7 to 5 engineering devs, and the end date was moved earlier. So, yeah. It was originally from June, and it was moved up earlier. So, Lorville Cityscapes, narrative added 2 design devs through it. So it doesn't change the day, but they just kind of added more concept there. Map and radar system rework, it was extended to the end of March with 1 engineering dev from Squadron 42 and 2 vehicle engineering teams from engine devs. MFD rework, again, Squadron 42 heavy, extended still in June. New devs and 1 design dev. Miss Cole C freed up. So the Miss Cole C is done. A lot of the stuff is finished. I've said this before, but they seem to have gone through another pass and finished up a lot of stuff. But that's finished as of right now. They may have more stuff to add down the road, though. Miscellaneous support, gameplay story for narrative and Squadron 42 feature team, and vehicle feature teams had a bunch of other stuff. Moby Glass rework, which was extended to the mid-March, so today. Good congratulations, Moby Glass rework team. You're done for today. 2 engineering devs with 10 tasks. New mission Orison. This was for 3.18 release, which is out now. Sort of. New player experience. This was extended to the end of March. EU Landing Zone 2 added 13 days of work. Sandbox 2 and narrative design dev action 2 new tasks. So this was something that's coming out in 3.19, so it's interesting to see that. Origin X1, they freed up 28 days of work because they now are scheduled to... it was always scheduled. I think they changed it around a little bit more. Persistent Hangars in September. The end date is extended to September, and with the EU Landing Zone 2 being assigned 1 art dev with 4 tasks. Okay. Persistent Streaming and Server Meshing. Vehicle Feature Team freed up 61 days of work to 3 engineering devs with 17 tasks. Player Interaction Experience, T2 Visor and HUD Elements. This is Squad 42 Heavy. Vehicle Feature Team was assigned, revealing 62 days of work with 1 new design dev. Okay. Pyro Space Stations. This is extended to August, the other A. EU Landing Zone 2 added a bunch of work, art devs and design devs, and narrative add. We did see that in the monthly report as well, that they've been working on the Pyro Space Stations. Pyro System Planets and Mission Setup. Interactables team was assigned a bunch of new people. So the same stayed the same, but they added more people. They extended the Quantum Travel experience to today-ish. Vehicle Feature Team added 27 days of work with 3 times engineering devs. Fun story. One of the developers who's behind this posted about this. This work was done by a developer who's brand new, who just came onto the team. He posted about how some of this stuff was reworked in 3.18, and that he was part of this team who did this. So it's just a nice little fun connection I just made there. So resource management it's still set to happen in September, but they added a bunch more work with 2 design devs and 4 engineering devs. Save and load. This is the other thing that's using PES for Squadron 42. This was extended to today for March, and they added 78 days of work, 2 engineering teams with 12 tasks. Space Mines. So this was no longer being used. It was changed to the 7th of last year, 7th of July of last year. Squadron 42 vehicle support. This is extended to just a little bit in September. They had 1 cinematics art dev, and then they added 1 more art devs for a total of 4, added 9. So they removed 2 and removed 1 engineering dev and design dev. Subsumption editor integration. This is extended to March. 1 engineering dev. Third person camera version 2. Oh, that's an interesting one. I didn't know that they're working on that. End date moved to earlier. Oh, that's because it was already done back in 2021. Unannounced vehicle. I was assigned revealing 7 days of work. So they finally added one of the unannounced vehicles to the roadmap. Underground facilities was extended to July. So UGFs were extended to July with 3 design devs, 4 art devs from EU Sandbox, and then Montreal has 1 design dev and 4 art devs. And lastly, vehicle tractor beams, just nothing changed except for they added 1 design dev for narrative. So, not a lot of change, though I think some other things which are more important to note from this were the vehicle tractor beams hasn't changed from its original date, but they've been adding narrative stuff. And generally speaking, the lore team is the first and the last teams that really get the handle on a lot of these concepts. They come in to help flesh out components and missions and stuff like that. But they aren't usually the first people in there. So that could mean that vehicle tractor beams is starting its progression, but based off of our previous readings and monthly reports, it's actually probably closer to finish, which is another little big pile of evidence that vehicle tractor beams may be coming to us sometime in May with 319, or at least plan to, may not actually do so. UGF seem to be coming sooner than we think, with a lot of heavy stuff, especially coming towards Montreal. We see resource management is getting a lot of new devs added. A lot of other stuff is pretty much the same. Origin X1's finally making it in there. New player experience, Moby Glass rework, MFDs, map and radar, jump points, which again, a lot of the stuff is reflective of the monthly report as well. The big one was Squadron 42. There's really not a lot of extension for Squadron 42 stuff. Most of it has been extended, especially the chapters have only been extended a little bit to a couple of days to maybe a month or so. Most of it is being actively worked on. And a lot of that stuff is being actively worked on by the design teams, the teams who are coming in to actually design the gameplay, not just make the levels function and such. That's pretty good as well. Overall, it's a smaller update compared to what we've had in the past, but a lot of good stuff kind of indicating the thrust of what CIG can be working on for the rest of the year. As always, I do want to know if this helps you or not, if you enjoyed this content, if you want me to continue to do this in the future, I will certainly do so. And as always, make sure that you are subscribed to us here on Twitch and on YouTube, and follow us on Twitch as well to come join us live for these sorts of situations. Love to see you here. And if you did enjoy this, make sure you like the video, hit subscribe button, hit the little bell icon. And lastly, I do want to hear your thoughts down below on any of this. Comment down below your own thoughts. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. And like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black.